Moto Academy. We haven't even started yet, and I'm ticked off. But we've got, what was that? You have to lube the mic too? Dave Drake's got a squeaky.
That's what happens when you talk smack to me.
Put that on straight. My least favorite guest of all time, my wife, Alley Cat. Welcome to the podcast.
Not happy to be here. He just told me he would fire me.
If she was an employee, I would fire her, is what I just said.
I mean, I am.
And I'm going to start this podcast out by talking about what I really need right now is a mental performance shot from Magic Mind, Allie. Because the type of day I'm having, I need a little clarity. I need a little stress reliever. I need a little bit of calm energy in my life. A lot of people do their mental performance shot as coffee. And guess what? Usually that just adds more anxiety and more stress. This has mushrooms in it. Has turmeric, ashwagandha, a bunch of different vitamins, matcha, L-theanine, whatever that means. And I think it's quite good. Do you like them?
I do. I'm breastfeeding though, so I don't know if I'm technically allowed to drink those.
I would say probably safe. But
I'll have to
definitely
ask them.
Don't listen to me on that, please.
I'm sure
go to
you have a lot of-
magicmind.com/TMA20. Save 20% with your order. Use code TMA20 or go to the landing page. Who freaking knows? magicmind.com/TMA20. They've supported the channel for a little bit because they're trying to get me off the coffee addiction. And yeah, I think it tastes delicious. They just have a nighttime version that recently came out.
That tastes good. Did
Been
you
drinking
notice
that during the day?
Did you notice if that made you sleepy at all, or did you
No,
notice anything from
not
it?
at all. But it made me more calm. So just really zened out.
I'm gonna be pushing
during
those
the
down
day.
AJ's throat tonight.
This is, so if you see me drinking that throughout the podcast, that's what that is. This episode is going to be answering questions. So if you guys aren't inside the Moto Academy app yet, get in there. By the way, say hi. We have a third camera angle.
That's cool.
For those watching us on YouTube, I think. Is it recording? Because it certainly doesn't.
I see it. Yes, it is.
You see it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've established a third camera angle. This is our first time trying it. And so I'm sure we'll mess it up, but we're going to give it a shot.
Can't wait to see my
If you want to ask your questions, get inside the Moto Academy app. Go to themotoacademy.com. Join the community. It's freaking amazing. I've been saying it's amazing for forever, but I can't even describe to you guys that it just keeps getting cooler and cooler and cooler because the more people that are in there, I think everybody is just more comfortable with engaging. And the amount of engagement on each post and the action that's going on in that app is so cool, whether it be in the buy and sell tab, the community feed, the coaching wanted, where all of our members pitch in on trying to give advice, #NotACoach. It's awesome.
And there is a free trial, so if you don't want to have
and
to
we've
pay
bumped
at first.
the free trial up to, it used to just be 3 days. Now I think it's like 10 or 14 days.
Oh, that's pretty good compared to
So
most.
get in there. Give it a proper shot. You can sign up for free. Go to themotoacademy.com. And what you can also do at themotoacademy.com is check out our tour dates. We're adding new classes like crazy. We just added Field of Dreams to our 2025 schedule, which is a heavy hitter location. We're about to add Baja Acres in Michigan, which is a track that has been big time on my radar. So I'm pumped for that. By the time this podcast comes out, I'm sure that will be on the site, and many more. So we've got some in Europe, we've got some in Canada, we've got a bajillion of them in the US. If you don't see a location near you, message our team, let us know, and we'll make it happen. Allie, anything you want to say before we dive into podcast questions?
No, I mean, I think that the overall vibe of the podcast is starting on quite a low.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I really want to be here at the moment.
Oh. Well,
I'd like to be with the listeners, but not with you.
Okay. Shout out listeners. We have our babysitter
Shout out.
upstairs, so shout out Sue.
Miss Sue.
And shout out Millie, who stopped crying pretty quick.
I mean, for the most part, Millie's a little attached to me at the moment. She doesn't even want you anymore,
No.
it feels like.
No.
Yeah.
So
So,
there's that.
yeah, that's all we got to
Well,
say
guess
about
what? You can text your or you can comment your questions in via
the app.
texting or typing, or you can do what Premix Papa did right here, which is submit a video. Let's see what Premix Papa has to
I
ask.
missed that guy. Can I see it?
It's the Premix hotline.
Premix Hotline is Premix Papa. Hey, AJ, real quick question. Could you share with us the importance of slow bike drills, slow figure eights, slow wheelies, box turns? Thanks, man.
Missed that guy.
Premix Papa and the Premix Papa hotline is potentially one of the most important parts of the Moto Academy. Shout out Premix Papa.
Yeah, he's up there.
What was his question?
Importance of box jumps.
Premix hotline is Premix Papa. Hey, AJ, real quick question. Could you share with us the importance of slow bike drills?
The importance of slow bike drills. Matter of fact, Premix Papa, it's appropriate that you ask that question now because I have been implementing a slow jump drill into our classes. Anything that you can accomplish to learn bike skill at low speed, so therefore low risk, is incredibly important. Before you start going higher speed, higher risk situations, what I find is that people get to class and they're jumping 80-foot, 100-foot jumps, and they don't know what they're doing. They get one small little kick and they're flying through the air a little bit not how they wanted to, and they freeze up. They don't know what they're doing. Or you see somebody trying to rail and like shove it into a corner, and again, don't really know what they're doing. And what that leads to in a corner is just... Did she dive in the ball pit?
She must have.
What it leads to in a corner is massive inconsistencies where you might hit it beautifully once, but then you do it 20 other times and those 20 others are a complete disaster. So cone drills, we just popped more cone drills and very slow speed drills into the app, by the way. Any low speed drill that you can do, slow wheelies, nose wheelies, box turns like you talked about is a good idea. You could do figure eights. You could do kind of the slow, tight S turns that Rich Larson taught me. There's a million and one things. People don't utilize them enough. Take the time. Go slow. Premix Papa, thank you for reminding us all to slow the heck down. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. My dad's been saying it for forever. I thought my dad made it up. Turns out it's a military thing. But it couldn't be any more true. Slow down your thoughts. Slow down what you're doing. And it will create just
consistency.
It'll create, smooth consistency. And next thing you know, now we're moving fast. Yep, Premix Pops. Red Wolf Racing has a question. He said, I saw a reel on Facebook that said, is brake tapping considered bad form? Is this true? What do you think?
No idea what that is.
What is brake tapping? Take a guess.
When you hit the brakes quick.
In
like
what
I do
situation?
in a car when someone's riding my booty.
You brake tap
And I'm
them?
trying to...
So when somebody's
make a
riding your
point.
booty when you're driving a car, you
Well,
hit,
if
you
they
brake tap?
if they don't ease up, I'd give them a little warning.
Okay. So brake tapping is something people do on a jump to level the bike out.
So nothing at all like what I said.
And there are people that learn it and then kind of become obsessed with it and rely on it off of every jump for no real reason. In that case, I would say it's bad. You want to be able to use body English more often than not, but it's a tool that everyone should have in their toolbox. So learn it. Speaking of people that are hitting a 100-foot jump and 80-foot jump and don't know what they're doing yet, many people at class are hitting those 80-foot jumps and don't know how to brake tap yet. Learn that on a jump that is quite literally 5 feet long. Play around with that at low speed. So if you stall, if you forget to pull the clutch in, if you're not used to what adjustment it's going to make, learn it in that setting first and then take it to bigger obstacles once you get it figured out. Good question, though. Good question. Oh, whoa. All right. Whoopsie daisy. Keep clicking the same one. Here's a good one from Emmett Hatchman. Podcast questions. How do I get over my fear of getting hurt? Allie, take it away.
I don't have a good answer for that.
You don't? Do you have a fear of getting hurt?
No, I have a fear of getting the neurovirus.
So you have a fear of just crapping your brains out?
No, I have a fear of throwing up. Yeah.
Okay. So how do you get over your fear of getting the neurovirus?
You don't. I'm sorry. I still think I'm getting it every night.
Oh.
For those of you that don't understand, I don't think I've done a podcast with you since, but people will probably remember if they listen to them regularly, the neurovirus story from like a little over a year ago, or a little under a year
We
ago.
had another incident.
Yeah, only AJ and Millie got it. I didn't get it, and I just have a fear that it's coming for me.
Yeah, and this time it wasn't like the first time I ran to the bathroom with a pillow because I knew something was about to happen, and thankfully I just threw up crazy bad just once.
Oh, you mean this last time?
No, the first time. And then came back, went to bed, and I was good.
Oh yeah, the first time you had it.
This last
easily.
time, it continued
I'm just traumatized.
all night long.
And I'm only traumatized not from my experience, from watching both of your experiences.
Oh yeah, and poor Millie. I really didn't want to.
She got it.
She threw up.
You weren't careful. That's your fault.
But I was careful. She threw up like a champ, to where she looked totally fine, and then all of a sudden, just start puking.
and then she'd
And
eat
then,
dinner or drink water.
would just run
or-
around, jump in the ball pit again, or hop on her bike. So she was totally fine.
Yeah,
with
it didn't impact her the same way that it does adults.
It messed me up.
But my biggest fear now is that. So if you could give us all advice on how to get over a fear,
Okay,
let's hear it.
how do you get over a fear, Emmett? Great question.
Mental strength or whatever you want to call it.
Mental strength or whatever you want to call it. We need to bring that back. That was good. Ask yourself the right questions. So first of all, ask yourself, what are you afraid of? Ask yourself why you're afraid of that thing, and keep asking whys. Like, once you answer, you need to continue to break down the fear. Typically, it's rooted in something that is irrational. And
Okay. Hit me with it then.
So we'll hit you with an example.
No, ask me about my fear.
Oh, okay. What are you afraid of?
Throwing up.
Throwing up. Okay. Why are you afraid of throwing up?
Because it's painful and then I'm down the whole next day and I have a baby to raise. You don't have anything there, do you? Is this
Why is it painful? Why is it painful?
because it's painful.
What about it? How painful?
It hurts my chest
How much?
a lot. Especially when you're doing it 6 hours in a row, a lot. That was you, 6 hours.
How can you avoid getting the neurovirus?
Well, I took activated charcoal and that helped pretty darn good.
Okay. What else can you do to avoid getting the neurovirus?
Stay the heck away from your loser husband who contracts it.
Okay. Anything else you can do to control it?
Move out.
Okay.
Never see your stupid face again. No. There's actually, I think I have emetophobia.
Ask me a question. Bring
Okay.
it back to dirt bikes
Well,
so people
let
can...
me ask you. Oh, I have no fears. What do you stress about? Oh, I don't stress about anything.
Ask me a dirt bike specific one.
About a fear?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so we're just going to make an example because, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Do you fear getting hurt? Well, let's
No.
make an example. Why?
Because I
Do
ride the right way, and I know that it's very unlikely, so why would I fear it? And also,
No,
I
no,
can
we
go
were supposed to be doing
okay, I can go further
as if
into
you were
that.
asking this guy.
So if I get hurt, I can run us through like worst case scenario. If I get really, really hurt, like crippled hurt, inconvenient, maybe, but I could, I could live
I
with
feel
that.
like this is actually terrible.
I could live with that. If I die, whoopsie daisy, I died.
I
I mean,
mean,
I'm honestly, I'm not fearful of getting hurt or any of it. I'm really not.
really.
Yeah, it sucks.
What about-
I'd love to avoid it if
What
I
about
can,
riding
but I'm not afraid of it.
during a supercross race? That doesn't cross your mind?
Okay, so like in a supercross race, there's a few things situations I try to avoid. So like the first corner being one of them.
That's
But then it's like, okay, well, what am I afraid of? I'd be afraid of,
a pile up or something?
yeah, tangling with other riders going into the first turn. Okay, so how do you avoid that? Well, you either be
You
first
stay
or you
last.
be last. A lot of times I've chosen to be last.
You've chosen to?
Yeah,
Why didn't you choose to be first?
because it's much harder to be first than it is to be last.
Right.
So
Okay, glad we're working through this.
therefore, it's pretty easy to be in the middle there somewhere. But that's where it's most dangerous. So I would just be like, yeah, you guys can have it. A couple of you can crash. I'll just pass you one by one here.
Very slowly.
And yeah, I'm doing a bad job of explaining this.
Yeah, you're
Emmett.
doing
I'm so sorry.
terrible.
How do you get over your fears of getting hurt? Figure out what you can and can't control. Most people are afraid of jumping. You have to get down to figuring out why you're afraid of jumping. Are you afraid of getting kicked sideways? Are you afraid of overshooting the jump and landing flat? Are you afraid of casing a jump?
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Figure that out. And then let's, for example, say it is you're afraid of getting kicked sideways. Okay. In
Break
what
tap?
situations would you get kicked sideways? And you just have to educate yourself on how to avoid it and to put yourself in situations so that you don't get kicked sideways. I think a lot of people read jump faces incorrectly. They hit jumps that are too big for what they're comfortable with. I am passionate about teaching because I believe that you can ride a dirt bike in an extremely safe way. Like to the point where it would take a mechanical issue and the catastrophic, something going wrong with the bike to really put you on the ground. I think that most people get hurt because they make a silly judgment error and they crash all by themselves in a completely controllable situation. 9 times out of 10, no exaggeration, 9 times out of 10, the crashes are 100% avoidable. So for the random fluke stuff, you can't worry about that because you could also get hit by a bus. And people use that as an example. That's pretty unlikely. You could get in a car accident and die. That's pretty likely.
You could get hit by a helicopter while your plane's landing.
There's so many random fluke things that could happen to you. If you start worrying about all that stuff, you have schizophrenia.
Yeah,
So-
which is a good point. Like, I mean, what's probably the most common way of dying? Like
Cars,
accidents?
probably.
And nobody thinks twice when they get in a car.
No.
Because you
but
do
on
it so frequently.
On the dirt bike, you can control these things. Also, another reason I'm passionate about it, because for children especially, it teaches you how to do those dangerous things in a safe manner, which creates a calculated individual, which makes a person that, whether they're in a car or flying a plane, like actually at the controls flying the plane, or walking through a parking lot, or navigating any situation that could become dangerous quickly,
They're thinking about it.
you know how to react because you are proactive and you know how to situate yourself in different scenarios because you have situational awareness. Same thing for like somebody that knows what they're doing in military.
Well, that's the first thing I thought of was my mom's boyfriend.
You have more
Everything about him is
awareness of how to
calculated.
not get yourself killed in a stupid situation,
Yeah,
basically, which is helpful.
certainly.
Hopefully that answered it. Wasn't firing on all syllables for that one.
Yeah,
Emmett.
really
Sorry.
sorry about that.
Whoopsie daisy. My apologies. All right. Let's see. We're moving on up here. We got one from Louise Magri. Where are you from, Louise? Louise Gustavo, more specifically. Doesn't say where he's from. Hey guys, I've been riding for about 7 months now. Awesome. Welcome to the sport. Improved a lot of my body position. No arm pump anymore. Awesome. But my right hand is very sore. Almost can't ride more than 2 motos. Tried different gloves, grips, handlebars, angle. Any suggestions? Thank you. Parentheses, I'm at the track right now. Cool. Shout out, Louise.
Shout out.
Likely that is close to a lot of the same symptoms that would cause arm pump, would also cause that right hand cramping. You're probably just death gripping that sucker more than you think you are. So make sure your throttle hand finger has one finger on the control. That's one easy way to loosen up grip. I ride with my finger over the front brake 99.9% of the time for that reason, to just loosen up the grip and not completely white knuckle it. Triangle grip, like you talked about, so angle of which you're holding the handlebar, will help because you'll have way less grip strength on it. And then just making sure, some people have bikes that have really annoying, hard to turn, like old rusty throttle cables. Maybe just make sure you don't have one of those.
You would think that there'd be something like you could put on your bike on the grip, like something that's like more spongy.
Well, we're
or-
developing a grip donut that, instead of being all the way flat up against the grip donut, it has a wedge, so it'll put your hand in this position, which it'll open your hand up automatically, which is kind of cool. But it's hard when you're riding a dirt bike. It's just like you just want to death grip that thing. I've had arm pump issues. I've had finger pain issues to where my fingers all through here like hurt so bad I would literally have to stop riding, slide my hand off the grip, and then pry them open slowly, and then like massage them out.
And why do you death grip? Because you're scared?
Well, because you're not breathing and you're scared. And a lot of people are at a pull and at a tug, so riding the wrong way.
So, but it's almost like you're telling them the last thing that they should do in that whole scenario.
What?
Like, I feel like you're giving the last resort, which is to loosen the grip. Because there's a lot of other things that are causing them to grip tight, you know?
Well, breathing and leaning forward more when you accelerate to take the weight off of your arm is a big one. Louise, send us, if you haven't already, post in the community feed a video of you riding. Use the hashtag coaching wanted. Let's make sure we get eyes on you. Make sure you're just not doing anything like outrageously wrong that we can point out. Cameron Bradshaw still undisputed best profile picture in the Moto Academy. Shout out. Would it be absolutely unhinged of me to believe with every ounce of my being that Jorge Prado is a championship contender for outdoors? No, 100%. I would say that he is. And I'd say it'd be unhinged of you if you said that for Supercross, but
Yeah, because
Cameron,
he's not doing well in Supercross
he
right
just
now, right?
got hurt. He's out for the season.
Huh?
Yeah.
What
Which was
he 250
not
or
almost a
450?
guarantee, but it was highly, highly, highly likely.
250 or 450?
450. Riding a 450 in Supercross when you haven't ridden it your entire life.
Wait, how did he do that?
He crashed last weekend.
No. How did he go to 450?
He went straight to 450.
You can do that?
Well, he's a world champion. So they made an exception, I guess.
Huh? Interesting.
It kind of makes sense, but also it kind of doesn't, because actually what caused him to crash is he overshot a quad, which wouldn't really probably happen on a
That's
250.
weird that they would have granted an exception like
Yeah, Supercross on a 450. I don't care if you're Jorge Prado or AJ Catanzaro. It's pretty dangerous.
that. What did he hurt?
Dislocated shoulder. So he got lucky, but it could have been really bad. He just needs more time to figure it out. You could tell like he's timid in the whoops. He's mistiming stuff on occasion. Like that was a huge mistime. But for outdoors, yeah, he's a beast.
Wait,
I'm sure.
so world champion.
Meaning
in
he
what?
does the MXGP, so all in Europe and Asia. If they have him in Asia, don't know.
Did the Lawrences do that?
Yeah, I think so. Hunter definitely did. I think Jet must have too. Brucey Diesel, how do you eat healthy while traveling? I've been getting better at this.
Have you?
Yeah, although I had McDonald's on the way back from wherever I just was. But
Well, I feel like you could do McDonald's healthier.
a couple of
Yeah,
things. So, especially being at the airport, it's really tempting to just get like these stupid filler snacks that are not necessary. When you get on the plane, they give you the snacks that aren't necessary.
Yeah.
So I don't eat the snacks on the plane. I've cut that out. I cut that out a long time
I used
ago.
to give you snacks to travel with.
Yeah. I just don't snack anymore, basically. And I don't get snacks while I'm at the airport.
But if
period.
you're
I actually
asking
don't
for
eat while I'm
things,
at the airport.
if you're asking for things while you're at the airport, I always like the big focus for me when I bring snacks is blood sugar balancing for men and women. It's really important. That's why everyone has like diabetes and stuff today. But so
like what?
protein and a fat and a fiber. So like you could do a cheese stick, a beef stick, and some dried fruit. All of those things you could get at Starbucks. Like even the Starbucks snack plates that they have, obviously they're probably not like the highest of quality, but they have like the little 2 hard-boiled eggs with berries, that little muesli bread with peanut butter and cheese, right? Like that's a great balanced meal to have.
On the plane, because I've been flying American a lot lately, they can sell they sell you these cheese and fruit plates, and I get those.
And
so
they're
it's
like
3
real
different
fruit
types
or
of cheeses. It's a cracker, and it's grapes.
Like fresh grapes?
I don't know.
Interesting.
They taste good.
Are they fresh or are they dried?
Fresh.
Yeah. Huh, that's surprising.
Yep. And then as far as dinners go, I've been hitting Ruth's Chris quite a bit lately, just getting a steak. Probably not healthy necessarily, but not the worst. Breakfast, I go to Starbucks and I get the oatmeal with brown sugar and dried fruit. I get the 2 hard-boiled eggs that come
Plate.
with the whatever that Joey's peanut butter, is it? Somebody's
That's
peanut
the
butter?
that's the egg plate I was just talking about.
Yep.
Well, you also get
And
the
a bacon Gouda.
You have all three of those things for breakfast?
And
Wow.
something else, I think.
How much is he barking today, by the way?
Oh, thank God for this Element. Shout out Element. This episode of the podcast, editor's note, put this in an Instagram story while you're at it. The one thing I also do to keep myself healthy when I'm traveling is I hydrate like absolutely nobody's business, especially being on the plane, especially going coast to coast on a plane 4, 5, 6+ hours. If you just rely on having the little sips of crappy purified water that the airlines give you, you will land and be a shriveled up raisin because you'll be so dehydrated. I don't bring this with me because it takes up too much space in my backpack, but I'll buy an Evian, how do you say it? Water at the airport, which is good spring water.
It starts with an E.
I'm making it fancy, Evian. And I'll refill it with the filtered water throughout the airport. And I put Element in it. So it's a healthy electrolyte powder. Go to drinklmnt.com/AJCat330. Most of you are not, I'm sure a lot of you have tried it. If you haven't, try it. And the one little tip, mix it light. It comes in these little packs. You don't need a full pack for a water bottle. I probably do about a third or a quarter of a pack. Mix it super light. And I drink that all day long. And I feel good. I sleep like a baby at the hotel. I hydrate like crazy. My diet is not nearly as good as it is while I'm home, but my energy still feels fine, honestly.
Pro tip, if you're traveling in airports and you use the filtered water things, make sure that the light on them is green.
Yeah.
Because so many airports don't swap out the filters, and that's disgusting. That's my PSA.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why is he barking so much?
Corbin Lawson. Here we go. This is a good one. Question. I can't find a good answer online. How exactly and what are the steps to become pro and race Supercross? What is the process one would have to go through to be able to go to the big events like Anaheim, St. Louis, try to qualify for a main event? I know it's probably common knowledge to most, but I can't seem to find a good explanation. Good question. And yeah, it's probably not as spelled out as clearly as you would think because I honestly don't know exactly how you get your points anymore. This is my guess. The Supercross Futures thing, I think they call it this next. They call it something else now, maybe. But the problem with that is that might be invite only. Don't know how you get invited to that. And then Loretta's and Mini-O's, I'm pretty sure you can earn points there. It's really not it's a pretty unfair system. I'm sure Moto Academy will do something to fix that, hopefully in the near future, to where maybe you can earn points at our Supercross events that we'll hold. But yeah, I'd say Mini-O's and Loretta's is probably the best bet to get the points the quickest.
How many points do you
need?
need?
To be quite honest, forget about the points for now. You have to learn how to ride Supercross first. Most people acquire the points and then show up to these Supercross races in Group C and Group B qualifying and don't really know how to ride a Supercross track that well yet. So it's like master the skills first, and then the opportunity, I'm sure, will present itself, whether you could just, somebody will tell you how to get your points or, get on a Supercross track, spend a bunch of time on a Supercross track first, probably with us, so I can teach you how to hit whoops and all of that. Because getting the points is a crappy system. I got mine by racing Arena Cross in 2010.
Just one season of it?
Yeah. Oh, well, I won the championship, so I was winning all the races. So I scored many more points than I needed to. But
you won Arena Cross?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was on that year, I was on a streak of, I forget how many races, quite a few races where I got the whole shot and led every single lap. So I led like an ungodly amount of laps in a row. I forget how many, but it was a lot. It was cool then because it was huge. It's getting back to that a little closer now, maybe, but it was like big, steep rhythm sections, huge whoops. A lot of them were in stadiums, or not stadiums, but like arenas that were a little bigger. So it had one or two more lanes. It was fun. Yep. And that's how I got my points. 2010. Shout out. Jacob Lilly, podcast questions. Looking for a new bike for 2025 season. I bought a Honda 450L last year thinking I would just trail ride, but I've always wanted to try motocross. Thanks to TMA, moto is now my favorite riding discipline. Shout out. I feel really good on handling the power of my 450L on the track, but is very heavy at 290 pounds. Wow. And underpowered for a 450 at around 38 horsepower. Interesting. Should I get another 450 or would a 250 be better for me? Well, he provided his info. This is very helpful. He's 5'10", 190 pounds. Primarily track riding, but about 25% of the time trail riding. Jacob, thanks for being detailed on that question. Great question. You're right at the height and weight that you're sort of falling in the in-between territory a little bit. I would say if you're comfortable on that 450 and you like the Honda, the feeling of the Honda, I think getting a Honda 450 wouldn't hurt 190 pounds if you get a 250F. The big question here as well is like, what's your general skill level? If you were brand new, I would say avoid the 450. But if you're a smooth, controlled rider, even if you're a C-level guy, but like you just know how to respect the motorcycle, you can get a 450 and take it easy and it'd be fine. At 190 pounds, if you get a 250F and you ride it for like 30 hours, it's going to feel really, really slow. And there's certain tracks you're going to ride it on that you're going to have to shift a million times. And again, depending on what your goals are, it's just for some people, they want to just have a fun riding experience, and that can level down the experience, if that makes any sense. So hopefully that helped. Finn in the comments said 350 for sure. Driver Jamie said, I've ridden a lot of bikes this year and can say that you would love a CRF 250R, so Honda 250. But then Jamie, I don't know if he said this in here. That problem with that is like Jamie would say that, and then you get to a track and he'd hate it on a specific track because it would just be too slow. Honda 450. I believe in you. All right, Allie. Did you watch the Eli Tomac Gypsy Tales podcast?
I listened to you listening to it.
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing, actually.
Was it long?
Yeah. He's been doing a really good job. Not Tomac, Gypsy Tales. Really good job. He's going to all the races, and he's doing, like, the press conference questions. Really good.
I think I just
really
heard.
good questions, like the jet one.
Oh, the jet one.
Yep.
Wait, what did he ask to Jet again?
He just asked about the fact that there was some
drama on and off the bike. I think that's literally what he said.
No, it was not conflict. Adversity. There was some adversity on the bike at the beginning of the season. Now he's facing some drama during the week, adversity off the bike, wondering like how it's maybe developed him as a person. He asked really good questions. Really good questions. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah,
he's good for the sport
you know
because
what
he also draws in like other types of athletes. I feel like he casts a wide net as far as people that would listen to him.
You know what I feel like? I know his podcasts are good, and he's just like a very down to earth. He seems very like relatable, easy to talk to. But I almost feel like no matter how good your question is to people at the press conferences, I guess I haven't really watched enough, so you could tell me if I'm wrong. You're not going to get much back.
No.
Like it's for whatever reason, it seems like.
But maybe that takes time. So I think right now,
like
maybe not.
Comfortability on the riders end, you mean?
Yeah, like maybe once they get used to more of those questions and maybe they get groomed in a different way. Right now, everybody's groomed in the way of like, got a good whole shot, felt really good off the gate, rode my own race,
It's
hit my
so
marks.
boring to listen
I'd like
to.
to thank
Yeah.
all my sponsors. Yeah. It used to
I've
be.
seen some funny ones though where Jet was like goofing around.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of. I
Deegan
haven't ever seen one with
Deegan just talks crap to everybody every time.
He does?
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, he's got quite the following, huh? I was scrolling TikTok like I do, and the amount of girls, I don't even know why he keeps popping up. I don't follow him. I don't like his stuff. The amount of girls
Really?
that like
He's not attractive necessarily, is he? Would a young girl find him
I think he's
attractive?
underage. I won't even comment on that.
He's probably 18.
You think?
Yeah.
I think I could see why young girls would find him attractive.
Really?
I do not, but yeah. Like they post like girlfriend applications on TikTok, like videos of themselves.
Yeah,
girls love him
we're living in a weird time as far as young kids go, but
on the talk.
we're living in a boring time as far as people getting interviewed in Supercross. Holy cow, it'll put me to sleep real quick.
Yeah, but I saw something the other day saying if you don't stay around to watch the press conferences, you're missing out. But everyone I've ever seen, like clips of it just on social media, I'm like, this is...
Oh, so maybe they are getting better. But yeah, I think it takes for somebody like Gypsy Tales Jace to break that mold a little bit.
Change
to
the questions
ask better
up.
questions.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Same thing with like when they win a race and they get up on the podium.
Oh.
I'm like, why do they all sound the same exact? And yeah.
Well, because
It's
they've all
like,
watched.
what?
Because it's just
They've
they
all
all
watched each
watch.
other?
Yeah, so it's what they know.
Like,
And
hey,
it's what
let's
they've studied to
sound
talk
a little
like.
different. You all sound like each other.
Yeah, they also none of them have any type of. Most of them probably don't have any type of like mindset coach. They definitely don't have any type of like speech or public relations coach.
I mean, does it really matter at the end of the day?
Well, yeah.
You think?
I would argue that all of them could make more money if you get better at that. I think Deegan leans into his angle super hard. I think that works. But I think I would have so many ideas for a jet as far as like what you could lean into. But Jet is so dominant that it's like you could just win technically. But
that's weird that you say that because I've seen so many sides of him where, like, I don't view him as probably the way that people do when they see him on TV.
you don't get any of that. You don't get any of
Really?
anything when you see him on TV.
Oh,
No.
that's a bummer.
Yeah, he's super playful and
Yeah.
like a
Childlike. It's
like
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why when I saw his answer to the Gypsy Tales, that's like the first thing I've seen of him in forever because I don't follow him either. And it was just so like not like him.
Yeah, that was like almost as scripted
I was
as
like,
it would
whoa, yeah. Which I
get.
guess
But
that situation.
that is what he's programmed to do. Screw anybody and everybody else. I'm here to ride my dirt bike, and that's all that matters. So
that's working well. So whatever.
Yeah. Tomac, back to this question though, is that he said, what does Eli Tomac mean when he's talking on the Gypsy Tale podcast that he uses the clutch when hitting jumps? That's a question from Travis Cornelius. Shout out Travis. And Eli was really interesting Eli seems like somebody that I would be friends with. I would like be interested for you to listen to that podcast because he's just straight up high level in like a, where is he from? Like a Colorado ranch cowboy type of way.
You ever asked him to do a class?
Yeah. And he said, yeah, but it's just a matter of like,
people would eat that up
oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah. He'll definitely do classes. He'd be great for it.
Well, right now, especially because people are so hyped over him.
Yeah. But he just seems high level. He seems like a really good person. And I always got that. I always felt that, but he just like gives nothing to anybody at the races. I mean, that guy like associates with nobody at the races. Okay, so what does Eli Tomac mean on Gypsy Tales podcast when he's talking about using the clutch when hitting jumps? This is Travis. This is a really good question. So what he's talking about, and a lot of rookies and younger Supercross riders don't do this, which is not good. You can slip the clutch. Slipping the clutch is like using the clutch as you're applying throttle to create either harness the power or create more power the way that you want. When you hit a jump face, when you seat bounce a jump specifically, you need to match the RPM curve to the takeoff of the jump. So if it's short and steep, well, your RPMs have to be ramping up really quickly. If you have too much corner speed in the corner and you approach a short and steep jump face sitting down with all that corner speed, your RPM is going to be more flatlined, which would work when I tell people at class, like, hey, you're standing up, approach this jump with the speed, maintain nice, smooth, steady throttle, just hit it with smooth throttle. In Supercross, that wouldn't work because you would just blow through the obstacle and you would endo. But you can rail that corner, you could really explode that clutch and slip that clutch, match the power to the jump face, and it'll create the pop, the timing of the compression and rebound that you need. And you can completely control that based on if it were a kicker that were this big and you needed it a little like a little bunny hop, versus if you're taking off of a triple face and you needed to kind of control the pop a little bit more. Extremely useful. In whoops, you can kind of slip that clutch to control where that front end is going to loft to and land. And a lot of that clutch control, I think, has been lost with some of the younger generation. Tomac was talking about how a lot of riders now will just hit the whoops with a full fist on the throttle and nothing on the clutch. And yeah, it's not good. That's why slow drills are so important, because you can learn little like how to bunny hop. You can learn how to catch as much air as humanly possible off of like the tiniest jump possible. You can make a game out of that. Learn how to do slow wheelies and popping that front wheel up. Knowing how to use the clutch just to control the power is what he means by that. Tomac takes it to the next level, like in the corner. He probably uses it too much in corner situations, but the jump that he's talking about, jump face, super important. Hopefully that answers that. Great question. Really good question. Okay. That's our podcast questions. Allie, what the heck else? What's new in our lives?
Tired.
Huh?
Tired. We're flying to Florida on Sunday for the Moto Bros class. Millie and I are coming with you.
Cool.
That'll be fun.
By the time
Moto Bros
this
Okeechobee?
comes out,
We'll be leaving.
We'll have already been there.
Yeah.
Shout out Florida. That
Shout
class
out.
is selling pretty well. Weather looks good.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be fun.
What else has been going on? Just got back from the Bahamas. Little family trip that got cut real short.
Yep.
AJ's like one and only vacation that he was going to have this year, and we were there for 36 hours.
But if Bahamas is on your radar, Grand Hyatt, Baha Mar, highly recommend.
It's awesome. Food is very expensive,
Highly recommend.
but beautiful
Simple,
beaches.
close to the airport. Beaches are nice. There's the water park that's attached that you get free access to if you're staying at the Grand Hyatt. There's the Rosewood, which is also Baha Mar, and SLS, which is also Baha Mar. So you can kind of like eat at their restaurants.
Because those are definitely the nicer.
Yeah, but still, the Grand Hyatt is
Beautiful.
not
The rooms
not
are
nice.
super nice.
It's very,
Yeah.
very nice. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I don't really know what else is new.
We ordered a new vehicle that hasn't come in. About
Last time I tried to say that, you said, who cares?
I know, but I don't know what else I'll talk about. We've got new 2025 tour shirts that are pretty cool. I just hung up the two 2024 editions right
I'm
there.
getting geared up to design my own line.
Allie is. We got to reference that third camera every once in a while. Allie is getting geared up to.
I was just trying to figure it
Whole
out because
Shot?
I kind of wanted to. Well, apparently there's somebody out there that already has a brand called Whole Shot.
Yeah, sure they do.
No, they do. One of the Moto Academy members gets sent their apparel, so I feel kind of weird doing that.
Oh, really? But
Yeah.
that's fine. They don't
Well,
own the word whole shot.
No,
certainly.
I know, and I was saying that before I knew that was a thing, but I just didn't want to. I feel bad doing that to somebody who's
No.
trying to. Okay.
I think the whole shot is cool. I think it can be done in a way that's tasteful and doesn't look like cheapened.
By the word.
Like
whole
a lot
shot?
of dirt bike stuff, you could do it in a wrong way where it cheapens it.
Yeah.
It's tough though, because like sometimes who are you selling to? I don't know. Because sometimes you like create something that you think looks really cheap and
People love it.
and tacky, and that's what people want sometimes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll create something that's like so elevated looking, and then nobody wants
wants
it, and I'm like,
Well, the price points too, and like, I don't know. I feel like dirt bikes people like retro, like harsh,
yeah, kind of leaning slightly more towards tacky, cheap, for
but
lack of
not
a
in
better
a bad.
term.
Yeah, not in a bad way. Just that's like the style of dirt bikes, if that makes sense. Like the back of that T-shirt. This one with the dirt bike on it, and like it's all retro type. Wow, energy is so low. You know what I was just thinking? Like, did you even need me for this? You talked the whole time.
You know, I was hoping. I was thinking that
Like
as
there
I
was
was,
zero need.
you know,
I
as
was,
I was,
I was just looking out and I'm like, man, I wonder if I look creepy right now because I'm zoning out. You just wanted a warm body across from you.
well, let me rewind a little bit because
I don't need questions. I'm tired.
yeah,
Billy hasn't slept
when
well
we
the last 2
originally
nights. I'm a
asked for
zombie.
podcast questions, we haven't recorded since, and I might have just picked up too late in the game.
No, I honestly think that you have a dirt bike audience. They don't like what am I going to answer?
Well, no, a lot of people asked you questions once upon a time, and now I just can't.
I've been
They're too far back. We took too long to record that they might be gone forever.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. I just need my child to sleep so that way I can be a human again. I've been going to F45. You've been doing Pilates. We're trying to get our lives back. It's not working well.
What are your goals in life?
To sleep through the night.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah. What are your goals in life?
To not get the neurovirus ever again.
You know what my goal in life is? To never hear Doug bark ever
Mike and
again.
Andrew asked, have you decided to learn to ride dirt bikes yet?
No,
Who will train you when you do?
not AJ.
It's because it's been scientifically proven that husbands cannot train wives.
Oh,
is
he
what
said that?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So who's going to be your trainer?
Roxon.
Roxon?
I'm calling it now.
Okay. You're manifesting that Roxon's going to train you?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Dave Drakes has a good question.
What?
And maybe we've answered it before, maybe we haven't. Either way, it'd be answered differently by me every time, so we might as well ask it again.
We don't need to draw this out that long.
Dave Drakes, what's the best way to go about parenting in moto?
We answered
did.
that at
Our
length.
dads were rough on us, but what's the best happy medium to encourage / motivate your kid, but also not let them slack or not try their best? We did answer that, didn't we?
Yeah, we sure did. But if you were my
Can
employee,
I read you something quick?
If you were my employee, I'd fire you
Why?
because you didn't come prepared. Just like you said to me right before
So-
this podcast started.
Oh,
remember?
guys, guess what? Especially people listening this deep into the podcast, for the 3 people that are still listening. We, any day now, by the time this is
Oh,
out,
you had more of this, huh?
is there more in there?
It's a full bottle.
Oh, no way. We have a workshop, a mindset workshop coming out into the mastermind that is really, really cool. They're going to be released. Episodes will be released every month, but this is like the fundamentals of Moto Academy mindset are dropping literally any day now inside of the mastermind. So subscribe to that tier if you're not already. If you are, keep your eyes peeled. But I saw there was a post today from Dylan Miller. Did you watch the live stream with Dylan when he brought him on?
No.
Can I just read his post? I hope he doesn't mind I'm doing this.
Sure.
So he posted a page from the Power of Now, and he said, he highlighted a couple things. By the way, Dylan, I'm pretty sure, is 18 years old. You ready for this? He's
Yep.
18. Think about that. This page of The Power of Now hit me hard the first time I read this book. 2 years ago, a friend of mine that is also into mindset-related stuff invited me to go along with him to Hatfield-McCoy Trails in West Virginia. Shout out. One night, we were headed home in side-by-sides through the trail after an awesome day, and the whole way back, I just had the strongest feeling of peace and calmness. I just felt at ease with the world as I enjoyed the scenery and saw the trees go by. That feeling lingered around for a few days after that. After it went away, I was still wondering what made me feel this way, and I asked my friend if he has ever experienced anything like that. He told me that the year prior, he felt something similar on the same trail. However, we both had no idea where it came from, and we were left wondering. A few months later, after reading this page, I understood where that feeling of peace and calmness came from. I then realized that on the way home, my mind literally thought no thoughts. Nothing else mattered in the world at that point in time, other than what was happening in the exact moment. I used to always be worried about what others thought of me and never paid attention to what was happening in the now, which is probably why that feeling of peace felt so foreign to me. Ever since this realization, I have been trying to constantly stay present in the moment, mainly walking from class to class in the hallways at school. It amazes me how simple this concept really is, but nobody at my school ever picks up on it. They are always worried about the next thing, grades, dates, school drama, and so on. As I walk through the hallways every day, I do my best to look to leave all these worries behind me and instead be an observer of the high school craziness. I try to make eye contact with people, look out the windows, carry a smile on my face. There's so much to see in every situation if you just become present and look for it, even in high school. Sorry for the long paragraph, but I've been thinking about this since I started reading this book for the second time and had a feeling I should share.
That's coming from a high school aged.
An 18-year-old high school kid.
That's not a kid.
Shout out
Your parents must be very
Mastermind. That's
proud
the
of
type
you.
of people we have in Mastermind. I
Love
mean,
that.
that is so cool.
Yep.
And
We need more people like that in the world.
yeah, at 18 years old, at any age, people don't operate that way, Dylan. So shout out to you. Because at my age, at 31, I do much of the same, not in high school hallways, but in airport hallways. And I feel at times, and you never know what people are thinking, but it seems like the whole world is just in a rush to get to the next place and to do the next thing. And it just makes it feel like you're surrounded by zombies and nobody's actually in their bodies. Even when we're at the Bahamas, it kind of feels that way. You walk the beaches and you see the way that what people are doing. You see everybody still on their phones, even though they're in the one place that they probably wanted to be and looked forward to being. And yet they're on the phone escaping to somewhere else. And it's like, what are you doing? But it's very easy to get into the habit of always projecting and thinking about the next thing.
It's one of my biggest struggles.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah, because you'll be
everybody's.
sitting at dinner at the Bahamas and thinking about what vacation do you want to do next. And it's like, I understand the need to have that conversation at some point.
Did I do that or something?
Well, probably. But
You're just making an example. Got
yeah.
it.
It's just like, hey, how about...
Or like the flight home. That was what I was doing. I was worried about the flight home.
Or actually, the one thing that got me a little ticked off on that trip is that it was short and you kept asking over and over and over again the one day that we had to enjoy being there if we could stay longer. And in my head, I was just like, if you would just
Because I wanted to enjoy
be
it for
here
longer.
right now instead of thinking about how short it's going to be and how much longer you want to be here for, maybe you'd have a better time in the one day that we're actually staying here for.
I think I did a pretty good job, though. I read my book and...
Yeah, but even I didn't bring my book for a reason because I knew that it was too short of a period. So why would I escape into a book?
Oh, I enjoy that. That's
Yeah,
me
but
relaxing.
I know, but it's also, I mean, you're not reading a book like I'm reading.
That was me just relaxing. My child
Yeah, but
slept on
it's-
me or played in the sand. That was a vacation for me.
Sure,
Also.
I guess, but
It was
borderline
raining and
escaping.
cloudy.
It's like watching
good.
TV.
Not really.
Yeah,
I was where I was.
yeah.
That's all I got for you.
Yeah. Well, so what else? Let's see. What would just kill it on a Instagram reel? What could I say right now that would just absolutely just do numbers?
We could talk about drama.
Like what? You want to talk about Lucas Myrtle?
No, I was thinking we could talk about GPF.
Oh. Yeah.
You know what? They all tie into each other.
Meaning
When you don't treat people well,
yeah, meaning just really try to do the right thing every step of the way. And when people don't treat you the right way,
don't do anything about it. Go treat somebody else nicer.
just continue to just do what you think is the right thing, and just keep doing what you think is the right thing. Simple as that. Because your focus will draw away from that negativity in the first place, so it won't be your karmic debt to pay, and like that you've continued to just move past it, and that person will then experience that karmic debt, so to speak, and like
hopefully they come out on the other end better. I don't even know if I'm allowed to. Well, maybe it's not.
Well, she just had her deposition, so they're still trying to drag this whole thing on, which is actually insane. But
to just summarize all of it,
at least they weren't on that one. So
I would have loved if they were. Our ex-partners for GPF are suing the property owners of GPF to get their money back, which I believe especially with all of the news
No.
we found out. What?
No. Just keep saying the details. You don't have to say what you believe.
I believe they're rightfully owed that. I'm allowed to say that. They're owed their money back, whether they were silly or not in that whole thing. They deserve their money back. So I was just sat and questioned for 2.5 hours 2 days ago over Zoom, and because now the property owners are trying to come after us to get us to pay that. So just to make this whole thing make sense, I had to sit for 2.5 hours on Zoom with 3 different lawyers and tell our side of the story. And you could just tell, first of all, you and I shouldn't be involved in it at all. And if the public actually knew what happened, they would understand that we shouldn't be involved in it at all. But like to tell the events of what happened leading up to like the closing, they were all just looking at me like this, and they had nothing to follow up or ask. Of course, the lawyers on each side tried to get me to say more to make the other party look bad, which isn't hard to do. But I was just sitting there like, man, if people just acted appropriately and we all talked on the phone like adults,
Yeah.
nobody would be having to pay lawyers. Nobody would be out money. The whole thing would have worked how it was supposed to. And you just realize that people just, what were you saying with the whole Lucas thing? You weren't saying it about Lucas because we're not making any claims against him or whatever, but like, what were you saying at the airport? Remember when we found out, when we read that Vital MX thing?
When I said people aren't inherently bad.
Well, no, because I believe that. I actually, no matter what happened, I actually feel bad for Lucas, even though he treated you pretty terribly. And I remember even when you said that thing about winning a Supercross race, he was in the comments like being a jerk. Still feel bad for the guy.
Well, he knew. I told him that experiment idea privately. He was actually the first person that I told. So this is actually kind of funny. So
oh my gosh,
I remember because
right.
I was by the pool in Florida and I went outside. I was on the phone with him and I said, "Hey, I just want to run an idea by you." I go, and I knew he wasn't going to like what I was about to say. I almost wanted to ask him just to gauge his knee-jerk reaction. And so I said, I have an experiment idea, like with how much I've learned and my mindset shift, and like what if I just tried racing like a professional athlete for 5 years? Because I basically, my whole pro career was one excuse
Half-assed.
after the other of like, I was so low level thinking that I just couldn't even piece anything together. Like, why don't I just experiment, try to do it for real for 5 years? And do you think I could win a championship in those 5 years in 250? And he just goes, AJ, don't tell anybody that. He goes, I'm going to pretend you didn't just say that. Don't tell anybody that.
And why did he?
And I was like, why? And he goes, do you know how mad that would make people? I'm like, okay, but why? And I can't remember what he said, but it was more so just like he knew people would be offended had I ever said that, which is
True.
part of the reason I wanted to say it publicly in the first place was like to troll people in the sense of like, okay, how is everybody going to react? Like, let's see. Because it boils down to,
In Job's
hello,
Cooper Web.
it's an experiment.
Right.
It's a hypothetical experiment that I believe
Well, that's
individuals are limitless. Therefore, why wouldn't I be
And
limitless?
what
And
did
like,
Lucas respond on that post?
it was like a meme, I think, wasn't it?
Well, the post was a meme that whoever put it up, but Lucas commented. I remember you
Oh, I
telling
thought he
me.
commented a meme.
I thought you said he commented like a emoji face,
Oh,
like a
well,
or something like that.
yeah, I don't know. But he knew the context behind it, and he just,
Still decided to be.
it was an individual that just like wanted to compound onto somebody else's problem, which is exactly like what I know not to do with him, because you have
know how it
empathy
feels.
for like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just funny the circle of life, how it happens. Yeah.
yep. So
And we
that's
sit
why
back-
you can't combat the negativity with negativity, because you'll be wrapped right into the whirlwind of like
Well,
the same exact
and I will
crap.
say, like, I was very happy with what you said, because obviously, like, you were getting sent that left and right from everybody, and what you said to every single person that you do not compound, you do not comment on it, you do not be one of those people that make a situation worse or make an individual that's down in that situation feel worse, because you know firsthand how terrible that is. And you just also, you never freaking know. You never know what the situation is. Like, okay, I could play devil's advocate. Could he have done it? Yeah, I'm sure. It's very hard to believe that that family and that agency would put that post out without absolute certainty. If they did, that's really sketchy. First of all, it didn't even need to be
But I
made
wouldn't be
public
surprised
anyways.
by sketchiness either.
Right, of
So
course.
it's like you have to have just complete.
You're saying is you're never
Open-mindedness.
surprised.
Yeah. You just have to have complete open-mindedness when you look at a situation and just not judge anything or anyone at any time. As soon as you judge it, like the only person, the only thing you're hurting like is yourself,
Yeah, and it's funny
because
because
you're locking yourself into a certain reality. That just be open-minded. Who cares about what else is going on? The less attention you pay to it, the less that's your reality. You don't have to focus on that at all. It can make you feel bad for the person for a second,
I still feel bad for him.
because especially somebody like Lucas.
Who has a 2-year-old son?
I like Lucas too. I had
You
some
do?
great times with Lucas. Yeah. I see through, like, Lucas has an enormous ego. And so when somebody
Yeah.
has a big ego, they are identified completely with being the person that they are. So think about the reality that he created, like being the number one agent, thinking he's the most powerful person in the sport. Like that's a strong identity. And it got ripped out. Imagine waking up
It just shows you nobody's.
and having that stuff on your phone, and it just all gets ripped out from underneath you. It's like,
An ego crisis, identity crisis.
oh yeah, you died. Basically, he died.
He has no idea who he is now.
Yeah, which is great for a person that
If you do the
is
right thing with it.
really egotistical, because that's what you need to create change. But it's traumatizing for somebody like that, and you could see it even in the interview that he did with Pulp. Like, you could tell he was just still in this kind of
He was in it.
he was in like a fuzz of
Yeah.
yeah. So it makes me feel bad.
I felt bad from the second I read it.
Yeah.
Even if he did do it. I mean, he would deserve what he got if he did do it, but I'd still feel bad because I feel bad for everybody. I even feel bad for people that do bad things to us.
Yep. And the only reason people do bad things in the first place is because the vision becomes short-sighted, and the end goal for whatever that period of time is, or in that moment, is status or money. Status, it's chasing money or chasing status will get you in trouble time and time and time and time again. If you create just a value system of morals that you follow no matter what in any situation, the money will be a byproduct of you just leveling up your consciousness and just therefore being a good person to everybody. And you'll just get the money. And then you don't care about the status at all. You'll probably get the status, but the status means nothing to you. When your identity is only the status, or it's only the money, like in that training facility situation, or like in Lucas's situation, ego and money, people just make weird, bad decisions.
Yeah, it sucks. And I think going through that, it's all just really good. It's good for learning. But I mean, I watched a lot of people and how they reacted to our situation, because both of those things happened to us at once, both with Lucas and GPF.
Yeah, that's right.
And people close to you, employees, whoever, that kind of like turned their back on you and thought a certain way and left. There was 2 of them.
Yeah, people really close to us were judging the situation and making opinions that ended up being wrong. Yeah.
And I don't know if they recognize it today, but that's okay if they didn't.
Well, they
I
got
just
to now.
I just remember.
Oh, and they especially will.
I remember being pregnant and was being treated a certain way in my home after that had all happened. I don't know if you remember that. And I was just didn't do anything about it at the time. Just felt really crappy about it when they were at our house. And yeah, it's just things always come out. You don't have to show people that you're right, or you just let things play out how they are, and just know that people are always out for themselves. It's crazy.
Yep. I'm out for myself too.
But you'll never,
But I do it in a leveled up way to where it doesn't create this
because you're not emotional.
ripple effect of negativity. I
Yeah.
just do the right thing.
Yeah. It's not hard to do.
Yeah. No, it is hard to do for some. Yeah, it's hard to do at first.
I was born like this. It's not hard for me to do.
You were born like this?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was born thinking about other people before myself.
Oh, I wasn't.
We know. We know. I got to go upstairs now because Sue's got to leave.
Okay.
How
How many times do you think we got canceled in this podcast?
Probably not a lot.
Not a lot?
I don't know. You just said Lucas was your friend.
Did I?
Yeah. Okay, everybody. Toodaloo.
I'm friend. Shout out. 275. 220.
Oh, I'm sore.
All right. Moto Academy podcast. We did it. 3 camera angles for the one person still listening. Shout out driver Jamie. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please let us know. Jamie, shoot me a message in Slack. Rate this podcast out of 10. Okay. Toodaloo.